Good morning, traders. This is part 2 of the London webinar. Now we're going to look through all the trades we haven't looked at just now, and we're going to decide what we do with those, right? So I'll try to go fast. I know these are very long, but I'm trying to, elaborate for you guys who don't know who haven't completed the course and don't understand how we look at pattern. I'm trying to give you more details. In my group, we normally do it for like 20 to 30 minutes, maybe an hour to finish the whole thing, right? It's very quick. So let's go. Silver, we have a buy at the top there. Well, this could still tag you and come back. We'll manage the trade during the day. I'll explain this later. I don't want this to be too long. This one, we don't have anything. If you get a sell set up yesterday, I told you guys, right? If it pull back, we'll sell it. I don't think we'll sell it anymore because it's pulling back. Let it come to the low here, and then we'll look for a buy. This pattern, once it gets to this low, it will be a buy setup. So we'll just wait for that. Pound. Well, the pound trade, why you're not seeing it is because if you took the pound trade, you close it. I think I explained that already. If you took the pound trade here, we closed it here this morning, you should have an entry there. That entry could come off now. You could still keep that entry there, right? Because you see the consolidation there. By rule, actually, we closed this morning in our trading room, right? Because you guys weren't there. So your entry is there. That entry is still valid because if this is still making some kind of a long drawn out running flat from this point here, it could go back up and maybe even come back down and then go, or it could take off. So we'll just leave that entry there for a while. We don't have a sell setup. The sell setup will happen if this comes a little more and start to make a flag, then we'll get a sell setup. We'll take off this and we'll go for the sell. So as of now, you just leave the entry there. It's not affecting. So small profit, I would say, I wouldn't say profit, maybe break even, call it break even if you want. New Zealand, we're looking at the New Zealand. We saw this, but I'm not keen on the bias yet, right? Because we have a big flat in this one. And I'm not very sure what it's doing. Let's see if we get a bigger correction, then we'll consider the buy. We want the buy in the New Zealand like we want the buy in the Aussie. But the Aussie setup for the buy is much better than the New Zealand one. We haven't had a big correction. Swiss. Yep, so we took off the buy here. Actually, I already showed you this morning. We took off the buy. We were waiting for a setup here. We don't have any setup for the buy or the sell. And New Zealand, Euro New Zealand. Okay, so you have an entry for a sell here. It's still a good entry. Remember, once you break this low, that's it. Once you break this low, put it to break even. And once it breaks this low, we'll take profit. If it makes a flag here, if this thing turned out to make a flag here, a little bigger couple hours, you can actually put it under this flag and wait for it to drop. Once it comes here, you put that into positive, break even or profit. And once it breaks this low, you're looking to take profit because this could go right back up. This trade would be a very short-term trade. Right, if it tags you and it stays in the consolidation, we'll try to manage the trade. We'll try to get out of it before it goes back to the top because this is still a flat for downside. Euro Swiss. I think I showed this trade. We don't have anything in it. It's likely going to make a running flat here. I believe this will come back just like the CUD went up, came back down. This will probably come back down here and then go back up. This will be a running flat, just like this was a running flat here. So you got an impulse of correction, an impulse of correction, another impulse, and then we look for the sell. So we don't have a sell setup there yet. Euros, it's coming down, but it's pretty dangerous. We had a sell setup, we pull it because we came back all the way to the top. Now that doesn't affect it from going down, but what that does is it could come to here, make a flat, and this takes off. If that happens, we would relook at this structure. Remember, originally we had it like this. And actually that made sense until this happened and started to come back. So I'm open to believing that this could be a running flat. And if that's the case, then this one should come back to the low like this and then go. But what if it only breaks this low and start to go back up? We will take this as a flat. We'll take this as the first impulse and we'll go. And this will be all the correction, right? In that case, we want the buy, not the sell. In this case, we want to sell, but the risk is too high. So I would skip this one again. Remember what I said. You can skip this, go back to all the Euro, go back to all the Aussie trade and decide which one is moving it down. Is it the Aussie or the Euro? And then you take it on the other pairs rather than on this pairs. We have a few selling Euro. We have Euro CAD, so why not? We'll go with the Euro CAD sell. I think with the Euro New Zealand, we're looking for a trade as well. We have Euro New Zealand as a sell. Why didn't I put it? We put this as a sell as well. Euro New Zealand sell, we have Euro CAD sell, we have Euro Swiss for nothing as yet. It will drop, but it's not a sell. Euro Oz will drop, we're too risky for the trade. Euro Yen, it's gonna come down. We're not even gonna consider trading this, but we still need this. So there's a chance that this comes back here right? After all this consolidation, it might even break the top, but then come back here and then go. So if we get a trade set up here, we'll take it. We don't have a trade set up there. So there's nothing to trade us yet. And Euro pound. We have a sell set up here, right? I actually want this to go up first. This has to go up. Go back to the top there, make a flat like this, and then drop. So let this go up. We can leave this here. When it go up, we'll move the entry to here. We'll look for a trade from this point going down. So a little more consolidation, possible. Let it go up first, and then we'll deal with that. This could go up by itself without the euro. If the pound comes down faster than the euro, this goes up, and then the drop comes. So this would be a sell in the making. I'm putting it in the making because it's not ready. You can put the entry over there, but that's still not a complete pattern for a sellers yet, right? So you've got all of them with sells. You can skip some of them, right? You don't have to take the ones that are not so good as yet. This one, we're waiting, the euro, and we're waiting for that. Pound, it's coming down back. It's going to come back down. So finally, we are getting what I thought we were doing. We're making a flat here. We got 1, 2, 3. We need to come back like this. We need to go back up like that. We need to come back down like this, and then we will go. Remember why we take off? We took off the sell and we took off the buy. You're witnessing what happens for the whole week. We didn't touch this because the whole week it was a mess, and it's still a mess. This one is going to be a good buy once the whole pattern completed itself. Once it breaks the slow, we'll start to look for buy setups. Pancad. It broke the top. It's not going, and it doesn't have a sell setup that is very clear as yet. It's an aggressive sell if you're going to take it. I think we'll be careful. Let's wait on this. This is not really a flag. This one went up to the top, so it could come down. We'll sell something else. Right? I'm in a dollar cat sell, so that'll be good for you. You don't have to worry about this. Pound New Zealand, this is coming down. Okay, this is still a buy. Even though it's pulling back sharp. Watch this here. I showed you this, right? You wait for this to happen, you wait for it to go back, you wait for the flag, and then you buy. See how this one dropped deep into this place here and then take off? You put the entry here. You're not trying to sell this, right? It's breaking down, but you're not trying to sell that. You're not trying to catch this move going down because it'll catch you. You want to move up. This is your flag. We have the same thing here. I don't want this trade going down, even if it comes here, because we don't have a good setup. It has to make a flag like this. And remember, even that flag we didn't sell. It was aggressive. You could have sold it, but it was very aggressive. It go right back up. This comes here, a little takeoff. We won that trade. And we won the trade way back to the top, right? So you want this to repeat this piece here. What if it drops to the bottom here? Well, we don't have a sell. This is still corrected unless you do this after you broke the low. If it does that, we'll sell. We would assume that this is a very slow move down. Maybe it's a leading diagonal in 5 minutes. The way it's structured, if it comes in and break that low and make that flat, it will be a leading diagonal in 5 minutes. I'm not going to go into the 5 minutes to find out if that's a leading diagonal. There's no need to do that. If it is, it will make the flag and we'll sell it. That's simple. You don't have to waste your time on those 5 minutes analysis. Aussie yen. It's still a buy, but it's not ready. We can leave it there, but be careful because if this goes and tag you here, there's a good probability that it's going to come back here and then go. We'll look at this as a flat, right? So keep your stop here and manage this trade, but it's a buy setup. What if this is a contracting flat? If this is a contracting flat here, then this could do that. We'll keep the entry there. I'll stay with that trade. I like it. So we put a buy here. It's a buy setup now, right? Aussie Swiss. We won the buy. Anybody took the buy on this flag? It wasn't much of a flag. It wasn't a flag. Let's wait for a flag. Any flag we get from no one, we'll take it a buy. Remember yesterday we didn't take the sell for that reason. We weren't selling at the bottom here, if you remember, because the reason is it's going to go up. So we wait for the buy setup. We don't have this setup as yet, but when we get it, we'll take the trade. New Zealand Swiss. And you want a buy setup here, but you don't have it. I'm in the 4 hours. Sorry, my fault. Let's go back here. Yeah, we don't have any buy setup as yet. It's still consolidating here, which means it can still drop one more and then go back up. So we stay out of this. Let me look back at the Aussie Swiss. There actually was a buy setup. Yeah, there was a 1 hour nice flag here. An entry above here or an entry above here would have been a good one. Anyway, wait for the next flag. Don't take it now. Wait for the next flag, right? And then we'll take the trade. New Zealand CAD. I think we had a sell in this week close. I'm not sure if, and if we had it, if you knew, you could remember that. If we had a sell it, it should have been here and you closed it here. See that consolidation, you closed it. Now it looks like it's a buy setup. Are we gonna take the buy? Let's see where we are to decide if we're taking that buy. Absolutely. We're trying to go up right into this structure, see? So the buy is a Mustang. Let's go back to the 1 hour and look for the buy setup. So we'll take off this. This is useless. You're making this a bigger consolidation. If you get a buy setup here, that's a trade. So put an entry order just above that top, right here. Right, because this just became a bigger flat. Now, the question is, would we put this as some kind of a running flat? We discussed that in our trading room yesterday. Would we look at that as a running flat? Because you do have this, as you can go with that as a running flat in there as well, or two separate flats of their own. So you have one flat correction, this 1, 2, 3 down, and this 1, 2, 3 down. This could probably do that. We want the trade, so we'll put an entry there. We have them in 3 hours sideways. We have 3 hours there, 4 hours. Put the entry for a buy. New Zealand yen. Nothing, it's gonna break that top. Do we want to buy it? Nope. Let it go. You know which one has this pattern? Any chart, any one of you, even my traders, anybody tell me where you have a pattern similar like this happening right now? Let me see how many charts you guys can remember in your head. Anybody, very quick. I'll show you, but tell me if anybody remember. We have a similar pattern with a big flat here, and they're making a smaller one here, and we're expecting it to go break that up and then drop. Come on, nobody remembered it? I was hoping my traders, one of you would come up with US oil. Nope, US oil. Let me show you. We got this big flat here. We got this one. We are making this piece here. We expect this to come here, go back up there, and then drop. See this here? See this piece? Watch this piece that is incomplete, and I'm going to go back to the chart I was in just now. Which chart? I think New Zealand yen, right? So we're going to take the New Zealand yen, we're going to copy it, and we're going to bring it down. So let's take a copy. You have to remember these patterns, guys. After a time, you start memorizing every single one of them. Where is the copy? I think it's in here. Somebody tell me where to get that copy from. Which one has the copy? Ah, this one here. I think this one here has it. Yeah, copy. Not ghost bars, pattern bars. We're looking for pattern bars, pattern bars. I'm going to take it from here and I'm going to bring it across here. And we'll copy. Bring it to the US oil. I want the whole big structure. That is this piece here. Paste. Where the hell is it? Couldn't paste because board doesn't support. It's a shame. Why wouldn't it support that? Okay, this time frame is 1 hour. Let's get it in the 1 hour, the Canadian. I'm in the 1 hour. Why the hell it can't take it? Copy, go back here. Paste. I don't understand that, but I think you can see it, right? So I can put them side by side. Overlay, let's overlay it. I don't know if we'll overlay the exact spot on it, but we'll try that. Not indicator. Which one is the overlay? I think this one, right? Oh, that's the indicators. I can't find my overlap one too. Anyway, you got the message. You're looking at this here, right? We're looking at this piece. You went up, it made a big flat. It came down, it made 1, 2. I'm expecting this to come down here, complete this flat, go back up there. This piece is already over, right? That piece is already over there, right? So when you come back here now and you look at the yen, it already has that second flat. See, it has the big flat. See this big flat here, and it's already had this second flat. We are here now on the oil. This has to come down, go back up there, and then we will expect this to drop. This could actually come back and make more complex pattern, but we'd expect it to drop. So basically, you got the idea. When you see those patterns, you know what the oil is going to do now because you see what this did, right? So basically, that's it. Use ghost tools. Okay. Well, everybody got it by now, so we can go ahead. Cat Swiss. As of now, it's still a sell. It's making a deeper correction. Might be correcting this whole thing, and it might go up much more, but we can leave the sell for now. We don't have any other structure there to do. Buy is not there as yet. And let's see this. Can we go for the sell? So it made a move down, it made a move up, and it's getting a sell set up here. I don't think it's going to drop like this. I think they'll probably start to do this, but you can take the sell. It's an aggressive sell on the 1 hour. I think that could be a sell. If this for any reason is flat by itself, this would probably go back up. It wouldn't drop lower, or even if it dropped lower, it will drop here and go back up. So the sell by itself is a good idea. I like the idea for the sell. It's a short, aggressive sell because it could be a correction in the making. So we'll put this as an aggressive sell. So you know about it, right? If you trade that at all. Natural gas, we have a sell. I hope all of you, we change that to buy. Change to buy. If it comes lower into this, it will still be a sell. We'll take this off. We'll go with the contracting flat and we'll go with the sell. US oil, I just showed you what it's going to do. There's another up move here. I don't know if you want to remember, I told you this is going to go up. If you want to buy it, not a good buy. I don't really like it. The risk to reward is not there. You have another buy setup here. This is even worse because this might just do this and then come back down. I'm expecting this and then the upside. So I don't really see a buy setup there that is huge. The bigger structure is downside, right? This bigger structure is downside. I mean, this could go up, right? This could go up and go up and go up and then come back here and then do this. And this would be a long drawn out running flat. And then they break the top and then they come here. But I don't know that for a fact. And that is why I'm very cautious about trying to buy into this. You can take the trade, you just have to manage it with great caution. I mean, with really great caution, because it can just break the top and drop. Once you know that, you decide if you want that risk. Same here. PayPal. Leave it alone, let it consolidate. We'll come back to it. Tesla. Okay, any buy setup you'll take here, right? Any buy setup you get there, you'll take. Literally any buy setup. You should be in this trade already. If you took this buy. If you're not, take that buy. So we're going with the buy setups. Now, if this is a running flat, you would have to manage the trade, right? If this makes a running flat with this piece, 1, 2, 3, we're hoping that this comes down. But if it tags you like this and pull back, take off the trade for a running flat. But there's an impulse there. And because we're at the low, it can go. It can literally go up all the way back to the top. We broke the low already. So there's no need that is a running flat. Amazon. This could be a running flat. This one actually did break the low, but this is mostly a flat, so I'd be careful. You can look for a sell setup here if you want, or a sell setup from the top once you see the sell setup. And US 30, well, we already know what we're doing. We're putting an aggressive sell here and an aggressive sell there. And NASDAQ, we didn't put that aggressive sell in the NASDAQ as well. Let's go. That would be an aggressive sell. And Nifty, it came back to the top. So now there's a high probability it's going to go one more down. There's a high probability this one is going to drop one more down, and then we look for the upside. Basically, right? So if you get a sell setup from the top, it has to drop, make a flag, you can sell it back from the top again. Let's go. Bitcoin. Well, we did come and break the low here, so now we're looking for upside, right? So you can leave your entry right here. I wouldn't go higher into that. I wouldn't go lower for the entry. You'd have to be careful. You can get an entry from lower if this actually makes a good flag for it, but I would leave it alone. They can come lower again. They can do this again and then go up. We don't know when, but this is a correction for upside. It's coming downwards, but in a correction for upside. Ethereum should have the same thing. Ethereum actually broke the low. Well, it's still a correction. This here is still a correction. So at some point, this goes back up, make a flat. And this is convincing us there's a new low. So if at any point this goes up here and you have a trade in here or so, you better exit it because there's a high probability this is going to make a new low and then go, right? Because that is becoming a running flat, which means this could become a flat. It's still going to go up, but it could be a flat, which means if this works its way down like this, go back up there, it will make it just a regular flat and then drop. We don't know whether it's going to be a flat. We have a very nice correction for one impulse up. We'll stay with that. Ethereum, don't look even for the buy. If you're going to take a buy here, you have to get a very good entry. and it's just one aggressive impulse and get the hell out of it. Let's see. XRP, same thing. We haven't broken the low, but it's the same thing. It's keep coming down. So this is a consolidation. This is a consolidation. They're going to drop and they're going to drop. And if they come to this level, breaking the lower knot, it's still going to make a move and then downside. We could still get into a buy here. And I think all of them is the same thing. We're in that flat. Some are about to break the low. So the same thing, it will be a flat. Right? If you break the low here, you go back up there, make a flat. This is already a flat. Make a flat and then come back down. And that should be the same here. Pretty much the same thing. We haven't broken the low, so it's more of a flat pattern. You can go with the same here. We haven't broken the low, so it's a flat pattern. This one could be completed. Remember, we spoke about that. The mere fact that you broke that top, this could be a complete structure for downside. It could also be an expanding flat. Come here, expanding triangle looking pattern, even go back one more up and then come down, right? So we'll have to see how low this goes before that happens. Go back up there and then come back one more before it goes. They will all go back. They're just consolidating. One more drop. If you're interested in sell, you can manage that, but I think we wait for them to drop and then go. This is pretty low, but there's one more up move here, right? And then go down. If it works its way down here, it's still one more up move here and then go down. Dot. Same thing, we haven't broken the low. We look for, you can put your entry here for a regular flat. Autumn. I think this is over, or if not, we're making the flat now, right? So you can take this up because we didn't break that top. So it could be that they're making the flat right now. This was the correction here. Kind of get that, you get one, you get two, you get three, you can go back up there, drop. It can come here, break the low, then go back up, then drop. Running flat or regular flat. They're all telling us there's more downside. Right? So this one broke the low, and these the ones that broke the low are a clue to telling us that now they might go back up, but then it's going to be more of a running flat pattern than the upside starting, which means the three that were very good, we'll have to look at those. They might just be flat. This one could still be a running flat for more up. Either you take this as a contracting flat, as a running flat here, and this is the top, we're going down, you need a flag like this, and then this could be a sell to break this low. Or this becomes a running flat. We make one more up and then come down. This could literally continue to go up. Regardless of what, this one could continue to go up because this, if this is a running flat, the running flat is going more momentum to upside. So the next up move could be huge. It doesn't have to be the next move, and all of them would be the impulse to end the flat. This one could be a pretty big impulse. So this one for a buy might be worth keeping. This one here is we're still pretty far away from that flat. See, we're pretty far away. So this might still come here, make a flat, go back down, or it could be the start of the upside. As long as you stay that far, it could be the start of the upside. It's coming down pretty strong. So eventually it's going to be more like this. And this one here. OMG. Now, if this is over, if this is the top, you don't have to worry about it buy because this is the correction. If this is making an expanding flat, you're going to get a new high and then they'll come back if you're making a flat. If they're going to take off, they will continue to go, right? So the buy, you'll try to buy it from the bottom here, somewhere here, if you get a buy setup. And this one also broke the top, right? So we keep the entry there, but if we get a buy from here, it's okay. If this is trying to go down, let's say that is finished, this is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going down. Wait for a flag like this if you want to sell. Break the low, look for your buy setup. See, these are long term, so you probably allow them to break the low, and then, you know, I wouldn't really be trying to trade. This one is perfect. It's still very far from the low. If it works its way down, then it's different. But for now, you can take this as a buy to go up totally. And this is the same thing. Well, this broke the top. So 4 of them break the top, right? Which means it could be over there, coming down to make a new low. Or at some point, they're making an expansion of this and then go back up. If you're looking for the sell, wait for flag sell. If you're not looking for the sell, just leave it as it is. You have an idea, right? So you may have to wait longer for these trades. Please go to the yen index. It's called yen basket. It's pretty much, it's going to give you the inverse of what the dollar yen is doing because the dollar is the most dominant one in that basket, right? So if you look at it like this, JPY, yen futures, you're looking for JP1 basket. We have that. JPN basket. It's pretty much going to give you the inverse of that. So let's look at this. Yep. As expected. It's pretty much not giving you anything much newer than what you have already. See? This one looks like it's coming down. I need more here. We don't have enough of this to make that thing. But you can take this as yen going, the dollar yen going up. This is coming down. Eventually, this one should start to go up back, right? So it's pretty much inverse because the dominant currency in this basket is the dollar, right? So it's not going to look much different from the dollar yen, right? So pretty much it's the same thing. You're getting some consolidation here. You can make an argument of whether that's a running flat or whether we're making a bigger flat here. It looks a little more upside. This looks a little more upside. We have the same patterns here in the yen dollar. If you flip it, it's the same thing. So I hope that's up. Can you brief about importance of fib and wave trading? Nothing. They're not important. The fibs is not important in any trading. Anybody who is selling you a fib strategy is pulling a fast one on you, basically. Like, okay, remember I did that trick with the I showed you how support and resistance is irrelevant to trading because you can do this and you can put this support and resistance anywhere. I'll show you something with the fib just now. So you can put this support and resistance anywhere. Let's find that one. You can put it here. You can put it here. Where else? So come on. You can put it here. You can put it here. Where else do you want me to put one? Let's put one in the middle. Let's put one close to this one. So you wouldn't say, I'm cherry picking space to put equal. And all those are perfect support and resistance line. Without me knowing where the chart is, right? Isn't this a good support point? Come on, or resistance point. Isn't this a good support point? Look at this, right? Look at this here. Look at that resistance there. Look at this one here, right? Look at this one here. Come on, look at this. That's what they'll show you. Look at that. See how problem it had crossing, then it come back to this one and they struggle, and then they go back to that one and they struggle, and look, problem here. Isn't that what they tell you? Look at the problem it had crossing that line and breaking it, and then look what happened to the chart. You can do that BS whole day if you want. You can go practice it yourself. It's the biggest scam you will find in the market, telling you that when you break this line, it's going to bounce off. It's not bouncing off or breaking any of the line. The chart is moving, and if something is moving and you put 100 lines in it, if it's going one direction, it's going to break it. When it starts to correct the impulse, it is going to come back to those lines, all of them for some reason or the other. That's irrelevant to your trading. One guy said, well, it's not a line, it's a space. It doesn't matter. Space, line is the same damn nonsense you're trying to say. It's not bouncing off a space you're trying to say that this chart, it's somewhere in a space in here, it's going to come and stop and bounce back. We don't know that. What makes you know that? Because in the past it did that? So you are saying that all economies are repeating what they did in the past. They're not getting better, right? So let's think about the pound. Let's think about Great Britain. So in the past, they made a mistake. When they come back to that mistake in the future, they will repeat the same mistake. That's what you're trying to say, right? They will repeat that same mistake because that's what they did. And I'm saying, well, they're going to be very stupid to repeat the same mistake. So it doesn't mean that what it did in the past is what it's going to do in the future. I mean, you hit your head in the wall. You didn't watch you hit your head on a wall. You're going to go back and walk again and hit your head on the same wall? Well, some people might do it. So I should apologize for that. Some of you might do it. Because some of you do buy a $500 course that is useless, and then you go buy another $500 course that is useless with a set of videos. One guy bought about 10 courses. All they did was give him a set of videos. And I said, the videos are useless. You can't become a pro trader or a good trader by using a set of videos alone. But he keep buying sets of videos, hoping that one of these set of videos will make him a super trader. How about training to trade? Forget about buying the videos, train to trade. Right? By learning what is happening in the charts and then doing the same thing with fib. If a fib is what? When you pull a fib, what you're telling yourself? What is this fib giving us? A percentage. You just pick random percentage, right? And you put it. I could change those percentage and we will still hit some of those lines. You see, I used to use fibs quite a lot. The only thing we use fibs for right now is this target. Why? Because when we did back testing, it doesn't matter where it come back to here. It doesn't matter where it's a corrective or not. You get an impulse like that, and then it come back to whichever area. It could stop in the middle here, in the middle of this, in the middle of that. When it goes back up, and it breaks the top, even if it's making a regular flat, there's a 90% chance of it gets to this level and then come down back. Even in a regular flat, when it's trending, it's going to go much more. So we said, in the case that you're going to take a trade and you want to calculate whether it's worth risk to reward, let's suppose that is just a correction, right? So let's say you get this here now. It came to the, I don't know, 55th, and then it go up and it make a flag here. And you're asking yourself, well, I want to know whether this has risk to reward. So I'm going to take this flag. I'm going to put an entry under this low here, right? This is your impulse. Where would the target be? Well, you can calculate your risk to this 270 and assume that that's a good trade. Not that you're going to keep it there or you're going to close it there, but that's like just for a calculation, because you know 90% of the time it will go to that level and then it's going to come back down. And we have found that to be true, that 90% it will break the top that much. It can go a little higher than that, it can go a little lower than that, but that like an average you can use to say, well, if it gets to this level, is it worth me taking the trade? Now, it might not go to that level, but you know, as a calculation, you can use it. And that's the only reason we use the fib. Otherwise, to that, you can change this percentage to any percentage you want. And I guarantee you they're going to stop at one of them. I literally guarantee you it will stop at one of them. The golden 618 is as golden as I am golden. They like to say, well, look, if you put it in the human body, it's proportionate. If you put it on a tree in proportion, yes, everything in nature is proportionate. Every single thing in nature in some way or the other is proportionate. That's nature, basically. It's that simple. Don't complicate it. Don't look too much into it and don't make much of it. Focus on the chart and the statistics. Look at the chart as stats being plotted on a chart. Remember this right now. These are points being plotted on a chart that you're connecting, and then you're studying what does these points tell you. These are points that people are buying. These are any second there of 1 million points of those plotted in the chart. These are orders being filled. Look at it as orders being filled. So you want to know, while everybody is buying and selling, which direction it is likely going to go. Let's assume you don't know anything. You're standing in a market. You want to buy a car. You're standing at an auction. Right? The auction could go both ways. It could go up or down. So when they started it, if people are going to bet in the auction, the price will go up. If people don't, they will drop the price until somebody said, okay, yes. Right? Let's assume that that's an action going on, right? You're standing here at this auction. That's the price at this moment. And somebody said $10 more. Good. Nobody else is going to put it. It's either it's sold at $10 more. When it's sold at $10 more, what happened? They still have more to sell. It come back to the price. Nobody wants it, goes $10 less. Somebody buy one, it goes back up. Right? Nobody buy it, drop back again to $10. Somebody buy one, it go back up. Nobody buy it, drop back to $10. Nobody buy it, drop $10 lower, right? Then somebody buy one, the price goes back up. Nobody buy it, drops again. Somebody buy it, goes up back. Think of this auction going on like this for a period of time. And at some point, it's going to go up, up, up because people start buying like crazy. Or it's going to drop, drop, drop because nobody wants to buy and you're waiting for a buyer. Now, what we are saying to you, what I'm telling you is that if you actually go and study what's happening in here, these buy and sell create specific patterns. That's the nature of how the auction is going on. And it creates a specific pattern because everybody is trying to do something to buy. They're creating an action to buy or an action to sell. And that action, that preparatory action, that what they're preparing themselves to do, create a certain pattern. When you look at that pattern, you see how often you get that pattern and how often it behaves a certain way. So if every time I see an X market goes up, if every time I see a Y market goes down, guess what happens next time I see an X? What should be my plan if I see an X the next time? I should assume that market is going to go up. If I see a Y, I should assume market is going to go down. It's that simple. So we study thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of those patterns. Every single day, 5 times a day for the last plus years that I'm doing this, right? And what we decided is that, you know what? There are patterns that repeat themselves. A lot of them. We have identified a lot of them. Before me, Elliot identified a lot of them. Before Elliot, Dow identified a lot of them. Before Dow, somebody who didn't record it identified a lot of them. The first person that started trading probably created the first pattern when he was trading sticks and stones for meat, right? So it's not me identifying. What we identify is the patterns that exist now. What Elliot identified, patterns that exist then. What somebody would identify 10 years from now is the patterns that existed in the future. But there are always patterns. And these patterns tend to behave a certain way. 80% of them at least will go in that same way. Those are the 80% we want to get. 20%, it's okay. So most times we set up strategies that when it doesn't go our way, we're not in the trade. You've seen that in this room for the last week, how many times it didn't go our way and we're not in the trade. Great, the pattern didn't behave how I expected, or I got it wrong. Bingo, I'm not in the trade. I can go to sleep comfortable because I'm not in that trade. But when it goes our way, you should get it because that was your plan. And now what happens? What if it still doesn't continue to go where you expect it to go? That's where trade management come in to say, okay, good, it's going my way, but wait a second, it's not going all the way I want it to go. What should I do? I should get a hell of it and wait, because it's probably making a more complex pattern than I expected to make. Here is the yen, for example, and you were a witness to that, right? Remember the yen when we took the yen trade, the first yen trade here? When we took this trade here in the 15 minutes, let's go back and show you. We had an entry order. When we see this, every time we see this, see that there? Or every time we see this, let me put this one here. Every time we see this, we know that the minimum it will do is it will go to break the low. So when we see this, this will go break the low. When we see that, it should come break the low. When we see this, it should come break the low. When we see this, it should come break the low. This one didn't break the low, so we closed the trade here and we put an entry order here. It went back, we took off that, we sold it from this point. This went and broke the low. Okay, we figured that out. Well, this is a 1, 2, 3. Perfect. This one should break the low. We took that. It didn't break the low. We closed the trade. We put the entry, come back. So we're figuring out, is it making a 1, 2, 3 now? You see what I'm telling you? When you're in the trade now, your next job is to manage the trade, because what if it's not making the exact pattern you forecast that it should make? Then you get the hell out of it and you look for the next setup. That is what you should do. And forget about fibs and lines and kangaroo tails and bats and rats and dogs and cats. Stop following the nonsense. Not even stop listening to the news, because the news is contributing to what is happening in the charts. So keep your focus on the charts, because this is what is happening, regardless of what is making it happen. Don't try to figure out why it's doing what it's doing. Just figure out what it's doing and how I can take advantage of that. Why it's doing, not your problem. You wouldn't have the time and the resource to figure out why it's happening. When they want to investigate something in the world, why somebody did something, they will have a whole team of investigators with millions of dollars in them to investigate. As a matter of fact, they showed an investigation of bank robberies. You know how much it costs to investigate a bank robbery, to figure out everything about it? 10 times what they normally rob the bank. Literally, all bank robberies cost more to investigate it and catch the people than what they actually stole from the bank. You should go and look up that. But they still do it because they're hoping that that knowledge will prevent the bank robbery in the future. But most of the bank robbery in the past, they actually showed one. The guy stole, I think, about $20,000. They spent almost $2 million to investigate and catch him. That investigation went on for about like 10 years before they catch him. And he only stole $20,000. Like, really? But they will do that because that they need to use in the future. So you don't try to figure out why this is happening. You don't have the resource to do that. Just figure out what is happening and can I take advantage of that? That's your point as a trader, as a day trader. Even if you're investing in long term. See? Do I need a fib for that? No. Do I need even a line for that? No. Do I need the support and resistance for that? No. Do I need to read all the news I can read up for that? No. You need to study the charts, because this is fact. Whatever is happening on that chart is real. Stick to that. If there's one thing you take away from this whole week, is keep looking at the bloody charts. Don't waste your time and all over the place and all kinds of things that people are telling you. People will sell you any crap. They will sell you any fib strategy because they want you to buy a fib strategy that is useless. There is no fib strategy that will work. You know, you can use it, but it's like comforter. It just makes you feel comfortable. Grow up. Stop using it. Focus on the charts. Let's go. You tagged in silver and Euro New Zealand. Thank you, Georgie. Let's go. Good. So now you start managing this trade. Once you got tagged in the trade, you're managing it. What that means? That means you have to understand all the possibilities of what's going to happen next. It's going to either take off, or because we're looking at this, it could come here and start to come back down. What do I do if it starts to come back down? And what do I do if it takes off? Those are the two things you need to focus on. We will show you that in the next session, right? You know how to manage it by now, right? I gave you the idea that it could come back down, how your management should work, right? It's a good trade for now. Let's see where it goes. I'm convinced it's going to come back down, but we still take the trade because then we will learn something and we learn how to manage the trade as well. And we're tagged in the Euro New Zealand. I like Euro New Zealand. Just watch the trade. Actually, if you moved it up a little, you did the right thing. Aggressive trade, if you moved it up to this level. For this one, you did the right thing. If you didn't, you still do the right thing. Watch it when it breaks the slow. You move that into profit, and when it breaks the slow, we'll take profit. Can it go back up? I'm not really worried about the upside. We'll manage it. See? Wish you all the best in your trading career. I hope you guys can do great. I hope you keep learning, and I hope sometime you join our group. Please share the message. Let's get more people in this afternoon. And even if they watch a recording, they'll learn something. Thank you very much. Make sure you watch the recording more than once, because you would, every time you watch it, you'll learn something new. Share it, like it, make a comment. Let me see all the comments there. At least tell people what you think about it. Thank you for coming. See all of you this afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.